Messiah. Messiahs come in many different flavors. For many of you out there, your Messiah is Hussein Obama, he who was born without birth certificate. But for some of you out there, your Messiah is Ron Paul. And that's what we're going to talk about in this edition of Stating the Obvious.
You can scream and shout with all your might.
Oh, you can scream, shout, whine, cry, snivel, piss, moan, phone your motherfucking mommy.
Dig in your heels and hold on tight.
Shove your opinions up your ass. That way Hussein Obama's cock will have something to keep it company.
Either you are wrong or I am right.
Oh, and don't forget the ever-present, the most likely third possibility, you are wrong and I am right. Oh yeah. That's just how we roll here. Especially when we have our Vapor Smith's electronic cigarette going on. God, the shameless plug-in. Go to the website, click on the link, buy Vapor Smith's. This is Stating the Obvious, brought to you by the Cynical Libertarian Society. It is the weapons platform from which I, the Great One himself, launch the nuclear-tipped, GPS-guided cruise missile of my intellect that homes in on and destroys dumb motherfuckers all around the world. And if anybody survives, when they crawl from the wreckage, we mow them down with the 50 caliber machine gun. You know, for a libertarian who believes in the non-aggression principle, I certainly am a violent motherfucker. I do love weapons of death and destruction. I think it's just a genetic boy thing. You know, it's like there's this one hand on which I look at all the weapons of death and destruction that the state has at its disposal, and I despise those, but at the same time they're so fucking cool. I think what it is, if there was only like one of each of them, right, then you could look at it and you could admire it for its potency and its technology, you know, and its ability to do what it's designed to do, which is to kill people. So like if there was one Bradley armored fighting vehicle in a museum and you could like drive it around and shoot rounds off, and that'd be awesome. But when the state has thousands and thousands and thousands of them and uses them to kill people, that's what it becomes a problem. And again, you know, it's just like the argument against guns. Well, we have to ban guns because guns kill people. No, guns don't kill people. No, people kill people. You know, Bradley fighting vehicles and F-14 Tomcats and Nimitz-class aircraft carriers, those don't kill people. Even Predator drones don't kill people. People kill people. Specifically, messiahs. People who have been elected through the wonderful democratic process in the United States where every vote counts. People like Hussein Obama and the members of Congress and everybody in the bureaucracy under them and everybody in the military who mindlessly obeys orders, all of those people use Predator drones to kill people. Predator drones don't kill people. At least not yet. They are working on these self-contained Predator drones that will actually not be remote controlled, that will be released with software that will allow them to fly unattended. Skynet, here it comes. I am the Great One himself, and this is the Cynical Libertarian Society Stating the Obvious podcast on the internet, cynlibsoc.com. You can send us an email if you want to at God. That's God, that's dog. Dog, spelled backwards, at cynlibsoc.com. Today is still the 14th of September, 2012. In the control room is the lovely and adorable Randy. This is part 2 of a podcast series. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, which would be Stating the Obvious number 114, you should go back and check that out because we're going to be picking up, we're talking about some things from that, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be continuing with another YouTube video from Julie. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to do some more analysis. What we're talking about is pseudo-libertarians. We're talking about people who hump the idea of voting and people who are humping the Republican Party and at the same time trying to pretend that they are libertarians. And we're going to talk a little bit about the shenanigans at the RNC this year. All right, where's my notes? What do I want to start with? What are we doing here? I do want to start off, I want to remind people definitions are important. I do want to, as we listen to this and we listen to the YouTube video from Julie, Julie does call herself the token libertarian girl. Julie is presenting herself as a libertarian. As I stated in the last episode, I do not know how Julie is defining the word libertarian. I only know my definition of the word libertarian. I want to emphasize that my definition of the word libertarian is somebody who supports property rights and adheres to the non-aggression principle. That is a libertarian. And my argument, not just against Julie, this is not a personal thing against Julie, she just happens to be the example that I ran across that helps me to illustrate what I'm saying, against all pseudo-libertarians, and I'm going to talk in this episode about what a pseudo-libertarian is that all of these people are running around saying, oh, I'm a libertarian. No, you're not. And we can see you're not a libertarian by the fact that, for example, you support voting. You willingly go out and make yourself part of the process that gives the state legitimacy. You willingly make yourself part of the process of the state when it comes to the parts of it you can opt out of. As I've said before, you cannot opt out of paying income taxes if you want to continue living. You can opt out of paying income tax, which would morally be the correct thing to do. However, if you do that, the state will kill you. You can opt out of voting, and you don't have to worry about the state killing you, at least not yet, as I predicted previously and will predict again sometime in the future. The state will make it mandatory for you to vote. That's to give them legitimacy. That goes back to the numbers I talked about in the last one, where Hussein Obama was elected, actually voted for by 22% of the population of the United States. That's it. Oh, that is not when people, democracy, majority rules. First of all, democracy is not majority rules. Democracy is the mob rules. Democracy means that if 51% of the people want to put the other 49% of the people into concentration camps, like FDR did in World War II with Japanese people, you can do that. That's democracy. Majority rules, okay? That is not a great form of government. That is not a form of government to be proud of. That's not a form of government to write home about. All right? But we don't even have the Messiah. Hussein Obama was not even elected by 51%. He was elected by 22% of the population. Okay? If voting works so fucking well, why do we have so many fucking problems? Because we've been voting for 200 fucking years. I know it's hard to think, but you need to fucking do it. Okay, now instead of things that need to be done, I defined libertarianism. And I did that. We're going to do this. Okay, it's time for the video. Where's my monitor? Stand by. Stand by. We have technical. I wouldn't say we have technical difficulties. I'd say we have technical challenges. Alright, let's see if the video plays. Do it.
Over the past week, there's been a lot of libertarians threatening to leave the Republican Party. I completely understand their frustration. Ron Paul and his delegates were absolutely mistreated at the RNC convention. The RNC refused to seat Ron Paul delegates from Maine. They refused to call up the number of delegate votes Ron Paul had from the podium, and they pushed through these terrible rules changes that will hurt grassroots activists, despite the fact that on the voice vote, the nays were definitely louder.
Let me just say, seriously, was anybody surprised by this? Was there anybody surprised by any of this? Remember, as I have been saying in the last 6 podcasts or whatever, remember, 2008 Democrat National Convention, who got the most votes? Hillary Clinton. Who got to run for president? Hussein Obama. The number of fucking votes don't fucking count. Your vote doesn't fucking count. What the people at the convention want don't fucking count. It doesn't fucking count. You are a fucking slave of the fucking state. You don't fucking count. Why is this so fucking hard for you to fucking understand?
RNC kept changing the goalpost in the
You
middle
move
of the
the goalpost. You don't change them.
First, you needed 5 states to get nominated for president.
Right, 5.
Ron Paul got 6 states.
Right. Oh, we can't have that.
The RNC says, actually, you need 8 states.
Oh, I'm
RNC's
shocked.
Tactics are disgusting but expected. Gutter politics at its worst. This might come as a shock, but I do not think it's a good idea for libertarians to leave the Republican Party.
Now, okay. Julie, I have a question for you. When your boyfriend beats you, do you believe that the reason your boyfriend beats you is because you don't love him enough? Because what I'm hearing here is conventionally known as battered wife syndrome. Let me see if I got this right. So the pseudo-libertarians in the Republican Party who support Ron Paul basically have been dismissed, ignored, shit on. At the convention, the neocons basically held the pseudo-libertarians down on the ground and shit right in their faces. And, oh, we shouldn't leave the Republican Party. Why, no. The reason the Republican Party shit in our faces is because we just don't love them enough. I mean, I could be wrong, but what I'm hearing here is battered wife syndrome. I mean, let's just go on.
The GOP is not going to teach the RNC a good lesson because, quite frankly, they want libertarians to leave.
No. See, and here we go. It will teach them a lesson. The more people in your party, the more people registered for your party, the more people who vote for your party, the more people you can show on paper for your party, that is exactly what gives you legitimacy. She's going to talk a little bit about third parties, and so am I in this thing. Okay, one of the reasons third parties can't get any tractions, and like most things, there are multiple reasons. I'm not trying to oversimplify. There are laws against it. Yeah, but imagine that. The Republicans and the Democrats make laws against third parties. Oh, but wait, remember, the terrorists hate us for our freedom. We have freedom. We don't have the freedom to form third parties and get them in the elections in which every vote counts. But oh, we have freedom. Again, when are you going to wake up and realize you're a fucking slave? Oh, that's right, you're not, because you're stupid, because you went to public school, which is controlled by the government, which doesn't want you to be smart enough to recognize you're a slave. Thank you, Randy. Randy's reminding me this is not on topic. Randy, what in the fuck was I talking about before I went off topic? Yeah. Oh, yes, third parties. Okay. The thing that gives the Republicans and the Democrats their legitimacy as the two parties that control the system is the fact that on paper, that's who everybody's registered with. When it's time to vote, that's who people vote for. She said, well, we can't leave the Republican Party and think we're going to hurt them. Yes, you can. Because if enough people leave the Republican Party and go join another party and join that party on paper and join it on their registrations, on their voter registrations, and join that party in the sense of giving money to it, and join that party into signing petitions to get third parties on ballots, and join a third party in the sense of getting third party candidates elected. That is exactly how you fucking punish the Republicans and Democrats, by getting enough people to leave and to displace the supremacy of the Republicans and Democrats as the controlling parties. It's like, my God, it's fucking battered wife syndrome. Let's take a look at something over here. I'm going to have a link for this. This is a Gallup poll. Those of you who have listened to Stating the Obvious for a while know that I do not put a whole lot of faith in polls and statistics and all this other crap. I use them sparingly. This is where I plug the book that you need to read. It is called How to Lie with Statistics. It is by Daryl Huff. It is a small book. It's easy to read. It's how big is it? It's 130 pages. You can blow through this. You need to read this book if you want to attempt to use things like opinion polls or statistics in any kind of argument anywhere. So the first thing I want to put on this is a disclaimer, in the sense that I never put a whole lot of faith in opinion polls. Having worked, and this opinion poll I'm about to talk about has been done by telephone opinion polls. I actually used to work at a place that did political telephone opinion polls. I can tell you the people that answer the phone when you call and ask them, would you like to give me your opinion on politics, are the stupidest people in America, because there are people who answer the phone when they don't know the incoming phone number, and then there are people who actually have time to stand around and do opinion polls on the telephone about politics. Okay, so this is like the bottom of the barrel, but I want you to keep that in mind. This opinion poll here, which is fallible just in its process, it comes from Gallup, and which is a survey of the dumbest people in the country. This is still telling. Okay, listen to this. According to this opinion poll, 46% of the people they polled think that a third party is needed. Now, you know what's even more amazing than that? Is that back in mid-2007, and again in mid-2010, the percentage of people polled who believe a third party is necessary was 58%. Now, wrap your tiny little fucking brains around this, those of you who think you can't leave the Republican Party. At times in the past, oh yeah, and those of you who think that democracy and the majority and all this other shit in voting, 58% of people polled said a third party was necessary. And to sit here and say, oh, if we leave the Republicans and go to a third party, that's not going to help. If this poll is accurate, and I'm not saying this poll is completely inaccurate, I'm also not saying this poll is 100% accurate. I think opinion polls like this are a good ballpark figure. Okay, if this is a nice ballpark figure, now according to this down here, amongst, what is this, independents, surprisingly enough, currently 58% think we need a third party. Back in 2007, it was 74%. Now amongst Democrats, interestingly enough, right, I'm making sure I'm reading this data right. In 2007, at the high point there, Democrats, 48% of them thought we needed a third party. Right now, under Hussein Obama, 40% of Democrats want a third party. For Republicans, back in 2007, it was 43%, and right now it's 36%. Okay, hello, we are in the fourth year of our Lord and Savior, Hussein Obama, and 40% of Democrats polled are saying we need a third party, and you're going to sit here on your YouTube video and say that leaving the Republicans to go to a third party isn't going to do anything? That it's not going to punish the Republicans? Are you, Julie, what are you smoking, and why aren't you sharing any of it? Because I need some of that stuff, because you are on some awesome reality-altering shit. All right? We are primed for the emergence of a third party. If somebody could get their shit together and go out there and not just try to be a clone of either the Republicans or the Democrats. If somebody, and again, it's as a anarcho-capitalist, the whole state system, it needs to come down. Okay, I'm not talking philosophy here today. Philosophically speaking, we should ignore the state. We should wait for the state to die. All that other shit, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking pragmatically. I'm talking practically. I'm talking unethically, because I am sitting here advocating a third party. I'm advocating people voting for a third party. I am advocating things that violate the non-aggression principle. I'm perfectly fucking aware of that. Those of you on the opposite side of Julie and the pseudo-libertarians, those of you who are the strict anarcho-capitalists who, blah, 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 and you don't vote for it, well, I don't need to hear any fucking shit from you. I know that what I'm saying, according to strict anarcho-capitalist rules, is bullshit. I don't give a fuck. I'm talking practically. Things are primed right now for the emergence of a third political party. A lot of people, even people that are statist, are still like, this is bullshit. Okay, I've heard about it so long, I finally started meeting people who have said to me, I voted for Obama and I'm disappointed and I'm not going to vote for him again. Now, whether or not they really do or don't, yeah, personally, I think they will. I think they're not going to vote for Obama. I think they're going to vote against Mitzi. But the point is, there are some people who voted for Obama who have now seen that he has just fucked them up the ass. And there's a lot of people right now, there's a bunch of people in the Republican Party who just got shit. Their faces just got shit in. I mean, the Republican party leadership at the RNC just bent them over and ass-fucked them, then pulled out and stuck the dick in their mouth and came in their mouth and forced them to swallow it, then shit in their faces. And you're going to sit here and say, oh, we can't leave the Republican Party. I can't leave my boyfriend because he only beats me because I don't love him enough. What? Oh, hold on. Technical difficulties. See, it was inevitable. Can we please? God, I love technology. It's hilarious. I got a hold of for those of you who don't know this, In addition to other things, I happen to have a degree in electronics. I got a hold of a smartphone the
Over
other
the
day.
past week, there's been a
Had
lot
no
of
idea how to work
Libertarians
it.
threatening to leave the Republican Party. I completely understand their frustration.
Now I'm too
Ron
lazy to
Paul
go
and
forward.
his
Let's just play it
delegates were
again.
absolutely mistreated at the RNC convention. The RNC refused to seat Ron Paul delegates from Maine. They refused to call up the number of delegate votes Ron Paul had from the podium, and they pushed through these terrible rules changes that will hurt grassroots activists, despite the fact that on the voice vote, the nays were definitely louder.
Now remember, every vote counts, even though you're voting in a system where the most votes don't always win, and you're voting in a system where the rules can change at any given moment. But oh, democracy is a wonderful thing, and your vote counts, and you should vote.
RNC kept changing the goalpost in the middle of the game.
Moving
so
the
at first,
goalpost.
you needed 5 states to get nominated for president. Ron Paul got 6 states.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the RNC says, oh, actually, you
Oh.
need 8 states.
God, you need 8
RNC's
now.
tactics
God.
are disgusting but expected.
Yes, they
Republicans
are.
At its worst.
I
This
can't
might come
disagree
as a
with that.
shock, but I do not think it's a good idea for libertarians to leave the Republican Party.
Now, why is it not a good idea for the Republicans to leave the Libertarian Party, even though we're primed? The slaves in this country are primed for a third party. But it's a bad idea, according to Julie. So we're going to hear why she thinks it's a bad idea. If I can get the video to work.
Leaving the GOP is not going to teach the RNC a good lesson.
Yes, it is. When those votes and when those money and when that money and when that show of public support, when those things go elsewhere, it is going to show. I mean, this is like when Netflix rose their prices. To sit here and say, oh, well, customers leaving Netflix won't make a difference. The fuck it won't. Okay? If you're doing something and people are supporting you, let's say, again, I mean, whatever it is, I was going to do another bad offensive example, but I just decided not to do it. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing something and a bunch of people support you, and so those people are helping you to accomplish this goal that you're doing, then if the people who support you in doing this action start to abandon you and leave you and you have less and less support, it's going to send you a message. It's going to restrict and retard your ability to do that thing. I mean, fucking hell. Yeah, the other side of this argument is if you're saying that leaving the Republican Party isn't going to do anything to affect the Republican Party, and if you're going to say that not voting in for, well, all right. But if you're going to say, because I was going to go somewhere that I don't need to go, because I was going to attribute a statement to Julie that she doesn't actually make. And that's not the point of what I'm doing here. If you're going to say that leaving the Republican Party doesn't affect the Republican Party, then how are you going to make the argument that joining the Republican Party doesn't affect the Republican Party?
Because, quite frankly, they want libertarians to leave. It would make their jobs a heck of a lot easier if libertarians just got out of their hair and went third party. First,
It would make their jobs easier, yes, in the sense that within the party operations, there would be less opposition. However, if a sufficient number of people leave the Republican Party and take those resources that those people have with them and go to a third party and magnify the strength of the third party, then when the third parties can get into elections in the places where it's not illegal to be a third party and the Republicans and the Democrats aren't keeping you off the ballot, blah, 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 in those cases, then the third party becomes a much more viable threat against the Republicans. Okay? And the Democrats. Okay? If the people dissatisfied with Republicans and the Democrats leave those parties, go to a third party or third parties, just, you know, it's any little amount you can take. I already talked about how Hussein Obama is elected by 22% of the population. Every percentage point, you can take that down. That helps to shatter the illusion that the state has the support of the people. That helps to shatter the illusion that the state is legitimate. That helps to shatter the illusion that the president, be it Obama or Bush, who was this Bush who said, yeah, I run re-election, I have a mandate from the people or whatever. I mean, no, when you're elected by 22% of the population, you cannot stand up there and claim to have a mandate from the people. Actually, you can do that. You can and you will. But it's not legitimate. People who are smart will see right through that. People who are not smart are the people who voted for you anyway, and they don't matter.
They ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win.
Julie, you are not winning. We
are now at the fight stage.
We're at the fight stage, which implies that the next stage is winning, which implies that, and Julie doesn't actually say this, okay, so I'm having to infer this from her statements. She just said that we're at the fight stage. She's implying that the next stage, by we, I mean her, the pseudo-libertarians, the next stage is win. Julie, you are not going to win, okay? The pseudo-libertarians are not going to take control of the Republican Party anytime in the future. And by the future, I mean the next 1,000 years. Furthermore, from the perspective of freedom and liberty, from the perspective of a true libertarian, from the perspective of a anarcho-capitalist, you pseudo-libertarians taking control of the Republican Party, it's not an improvement. It's not going to make a difference. You're still a statist. You, Julie, are still a statist. You can't use the state to give people freedom, because the state cannot give freedom to people. People are born with freedom. The state can only take freedom. It cannot give freedom.
Not the time to give up. The GOP's establishment dirty tactics show just how scared they are of us. This means we are on the path to winning.
They are not scared of you. If they were scared of you, they wouldn't have shit right in your face on national television at the RNC. Okay? If there's somebody out there that I'm scared of, I don't go up to those people and change the rules on them right in front of them. I don't ignore their desires right in front of them. I don't turn the microphone down on them when they're talking. The RNC did not illustrate that the Republicans are scared of the pseudo-libertarians. Again, I don't know what you're smoking, but it's altering your reality, Julie. How do you conclude that? What the RNC footage that I saw shows me is that the neocons don't give a flying shit about the pseudo-libertarians. They know that they can piss right in your face. And you're going to stay right there in the party. You're going to keep supporting the Republican Party, even if you don't vote for the Republican candidate. And I'm not saying she's going to do that. She's going to talk about that. I'm not trying to, again, attribute anything to her she's not saying. But she is staying in the Republican Party. She's advocating staying in the Republican Party. What you're showing the Republicans, what you're showing the neocons, rather, is that they can shit right in your face. And you're going to stay there and take it. That's called battered wife syndrome.
Nobody said that this was going to be easy. The GOP establishment are going to put up a fight. That's why we need boots on the ground who are ready for battle, who won't run away when the attacks against us get dirty. The RNC and the establishment want libertarians to go third party, and I don't think we should give in to them. They never attack third party candidates or their supporters because they are no threat to them.
The reason they're no threat is because not enough people go to the third parties, not enough people fund the third parties, not enough people support the third parties, not enough people run on the third parties, not enough people vote on the third parties, not enough ballots. There are not enough ballots on which it is legal for third parties to get on those ballots. That's why third parties are ignored. It's not because, I mean, think about this. Okay, hold it. God damn it, I'm brilliant. Stop, wait, I have to think a second. God damn, I'm so good. If the Republicans and the Democrats aren't scared of third parties, why do they work so hard to make sure third parties don't get heard? If the Republicans and the Democrats aren't scared of third parties, why don't the third parties get to come to the debates? If the Republicans aren't scared of third parties, why are there laws against third parties being on ballots? Again, it's like I don't know what reality Julie is living in. Okay? But when people make laws to keep you from getting on the ballot, that's not because they're not scared of you. That's because they are scared of you. The Republicans are terrified of another party emerging. The Republicans have been in control for over 100 years. Anything that is a threat to their power and their control is going to terrify the shit out of them. The reason they marginalize third parties and make laws against third parties and keep the third parties out of the media is because they are fucking terrified shitless of third parties. That's why they need people like you to run around and tell people that are pissed off at the Republicans, oh, don't leave the Republican Party, because the only reason the Republican Party beats us is because we don't love it enough. And the Republican Party is going to change its ways any day now. And that's called battered wife syndrome.
The establishment doesn't have to worry about third-party candidates winning. Have you ever heard a time when Romney or Obama attacked a third-party candidate? No,
No, because you have to ignore them. Because a third-party candidate who is actually running on principles or ideas or something, whatever they are, it's not about that. It's about attacking the other people. Romney and Obama sit here and trade insults. They don't want to engage with a third-party candidate. I mean, why do you think they don't engage with Ron Paul? Ron Paul's sitting here saying, well, it's wrong to kill people in foreign countries. We need to get our troops out of blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to engage on that level. That's why all the engagement that has come from the Republicans and the Democrats towards Ron Paul has all been about how Ron Paul is a racist. Okay? Because name calling, that's all they've got. The Republicans cannot engage on an intellectual level. They cannot talk about ideas. They cannot talk about principles. There's that saying, what is it that, stupid people talk about, it's like intelligent people talk about ideas, stupid people talk about other people. I mean, that sums up what's going on. The elections aren't about ideas. We say, Obama wants to kill 3,000 people a year with flying robots, but Mitt Romney will only kill 2,995 people a year with flying robots. Obama wants to spend 10 trillion on defense, but Romney wants to spend 11 trillion on defense. These are not talking about ideas. This is Republican nonsense. Okay? Ideas are, we should withdraw the troops from foreign countries. That is something that they cannot engage with. That's why they ignore the third parties.
only attack those who they are afraid of. The establishment fears libertarians in the GOP. They cannot stand the fact that so many liberty candidates are winning GOP primaries. This isn't just about the presidential election.
Now, I don't know what libertarian candidates are winning primaries. I mean, and I don't know, okay? So I can't really comment on that. I am going to comment on the fact that these people are not libertarians. Again, with the strict definition of a libertarian, you can't be a libertarian and run for political office. Political office as a part of the state is by definition, by definition violates the non-aggression principle. As a member of the government, you are using aggression or the threat of aggression to force other people to do what you want them to do. That is a violation of the non-aggression principle. You can't be a true, strict libertarian and run for political office. So every time Julie says the word libertarian, you need to insert pseudo-libertarian.
Remember state and local races. There are libertarians running on the GOP ticket who are winning. Thomas Massey, Carrie Bentivoli, Kurt Bills. Great candidates.
So there's three. Whoop-de-doo.
To win races. Let's keep winning.
So she names three races. I don't know. She puts up these names. I don't know who these people are. Maybe they won an election. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they're libertarians. Maybe they're pseudo-libertarians. Maybe they're Republicans. I don't know. But if that's all you've got, out of all the political elections in the United States, if you got three names, that is not winning. Okay? Even if you're Charlie Sheen and you're on cocaine, you still can't redefine that as winning. All right. Now, hold on. It's drink time. A little pause for those of you out there to readjust your eardrums after listening to me drone on this long. I know it hurts. I know listening to me talk is painful. I understand. All right, where are we? Messiah complex and pseudo-libertarians. For 4 years, I have been making fun of Hussein Obama for being the Messiah. Because so many people who think he is their Messiah, he is, well, we're going to elect Obama, we're going to get hope, and we're going to get change, and oh, he's going to do all these wonderful things. How are we on time? Great, thank you. He's going to do all these wonderful things, and, he's going to pay my mortgage, and he's going to put gas in my car, and if I help him, he's going to help me, and all this other shit. And that's the Messiah complex, is the idea that I as a person standing right here, I don't need to do anything to make the world better. And you also see this in the people who post shit on Facebook. They change their profile picture and they think that they've cured world hunger and shit. That's a part of this Messiah complex. This idea that somebody else is going to do stuff for you if you just change your Facebook photo or if you just vote for this politician. So all these people voted for Hussein Obama. And they put their faith in him. He was going to bring hope and change and make everything better and give them free college and free health care and all this other stuff. And then they just do nothing because he is the Messiah. He is the one who is going to deliver. And I made fun of this for 4 fucking years. Hussein Obama is not the only Messiah. You see the exact same thing in the Ron Paul movement. Now, I don't have names and direct quotes here because I'm too lazy to get them, but they're out there. You can find them. There are a lot of people who have said, Ron Paul is our only hope. If Ron Paul doesn't run in 2016, he's our last hope. And people who have said that if you don't support Ron Paul, you're not a true libertarian. Okay. Those of you in that camp, those of you who think that Ron Paul is the only hope, or that Ron Paul is the only chance, or that if you don't support Ron Paul, you're not a libertarian, or that, if we just elected Ron Paul, if Ron Paul got elected president, he would fix all of this. He would change all of this. He would scale government back. He would restore freedom. He would do all of this stuff. That's Messiah. Okay? This is the same thing that we heard 4 years ago. Oh, we've got to get Obama. When Obama gets, we're going to change and he's going to fix everything. And all we have to do is vote for Obama and then everything's going to be great. Unicorns are going to fart rainbow flavored kittens and everything will be perfect. And I'll never have to pay for my mortgage or put gas in my car again because if I help him, he's going to help me. And those of you who are the pseudo-libertarians, when you come at me with the same shit about Ron Paul, when we get Ron Paul in office, everything's going to be okay. No. Ron Paul is not the fucking Messiah any more than Hussein Obama is. Ron Paul is just a fucking guy. And the state, the Leviathan, that's the word I was looking for. I was not trying to say I was trying to say Leviathan. The Leviathan that is the state will take Ron Paul into its mouth, chew him up, swallow him, and shit him out. He is not the Messiah. There is no one man, be it Messiah Paul, be it Messiah Obama, be it Messiah Mitzi, be it Messiah my balls. Okay? There is no fucking Messiah figure that you can elect president who is going to change the state, who is going to shut down the state, who is going to give you free things, who is going to fix all of the problems. No single person can do that. The only people who can destroy the state are the citizens, the people who right now are the slaves and the prisoners of the state. And the only way we can destroy the state is to stop believing in it, to stop supporting it, to stop obeying it. And the first step in doing that is to stop voting Republican and Democrat. That's the first step. The ultimate step is to not vote at all. But I understand that's hard. That's why I'm saying if there's a third party that gets enough momentum, even though I am opposed to voting, philosophically, morally, ethically speaking, voting is aggression. I would still vote third party on a purely unmoral, unethical, pragmatic, practical, end justifies the results, utilitarian reason, all of which I can argue against philosophically all day long. But I would still do it. The state cannot function without your support. Ron Paul is not your fucking messiah. Ron Paul cannot bring down the state. Only the citizens, the slaves, the prisoners of the state can bring it down. And you can only do that when you stop actively supporting it. Step number 1 is do not vote Republican and Democrat. Do not register Republican or Democrat. Do not be a member of the Republican or Democrat parties. Seek out third parties. I don't give a fuck what party it is. It can be the Communist Party, the Socialist Party, the Libertarian Party, the Guns and Weed Party, the fucking Whack Job Party. I don't give a shit. Take your support to third parties. Vote third parties consistently all the time. Register as third parties. Donate money to third parties. Show the Republicans and Democrats that they have some opposition. Yeah, in reality, we have to whittle away at it slowly. The Messiah is not coming. There's nobody going to get elected president that is going to free you. You have to do it your fucking self. I mean, and don't get me wrong, the other option is for everybody in the United States tomorrow to just stop obeying the laws. Everybody tomorrow, stop paying sales taxes. Everybody tomorrow, stop, obeying laws about how high your grass can be. Everybody tomorrow, start ignoring speeding tickets. Everybody tomorrow, stop paying income tax. Everybody tomorrow, stop voting. I mean, that is the one true way it would happen. It would happen instantly. The problem is there is no way in reality to make that happen. It's not going to happen. It's a pure fucking, libertarian fantasy. So it's going to have to happen gradually, and it has to start somewhere, and it's going to start with you not voting Republican or Democrat. All right, now, pseudo-libertarians. I've been throwing that around for a while. I need to talk about that. Because another part of what motivated this series was my observation of the pseudo-libertarians and how much they bugged me. So here's what I mean by pseudo-libertarians. There are a lot of people in the Republican Party right now, like Julie and like other Ron Paul supporters who are running around calling themselves libertarians, but they're not libertarians in the sense that they do not adhere to the non-aggression principle, and you can tell that because they believe in voting and they believe in the government and they believe that the government is the way to do things. You might accurately call these people minarchist. You can definitely accurately call them conservatives, despite what they think. You can call them Republicans, but they are not libertarians. That's why I call them pseudo-libertarians. And as I said in the previous podcast, I think the reason they're trying to take the word libertarian and stick it on themselves is because they figured out conservative is becoming a dirty word, just like liberal became a dirty word, is a dirty word. And that's why libertarians are now trying to call themselves progressives. So now, how do you recognize a pseudo-libertarian? This is the checklist of things I've put together. This isn't necessarily comprehensive. But so far, everybody I've seen who is a pseudo-libertarian displays these traits. Okay, first of all, pseudo-libertarians, how are we on time? Great, thank you. Pseudo-libertarians cling to voting. They think they can change the system by working in the system. As Stefan Molyneux always says, if you think that, I want to see you to join the mob and convert the mob from a crime organization into a charitable organization. Okay, the idea that you can fix the system from within the system, this is why it doesn't matter who you elect president. Ron Paul can be president. It doesn't fucking matter. He can't change the system. The Leviathan is bigger than any single person. The state will corrupt or destroy or wear down. Kennedy, when he went up against the state, he got shot. Martin Luther King Jr. went up against the state. He got shot. Malcolm X got shot. The other Kennedy, whoever he was, not that I like the Kennedys, he got shot. Okay, if you go up hard enough against the state, I am going to get shot sometime in the future for saying what I'm saying right now. You cannot change the state from within the state, because when you go into the system that is the state tells you what to do, even when you're the president. I did a podcast this a while back about how when Obama went into the White House, let's say that he was honest about everything he said. Obama goes in the White House, he sits down, he says, okay, I'm here to change things. There's going to be 12 people sit down at the desk with him, and they're going to look at him and they're going to say, here's a list of the things you're going to do and say. And Obama's going to say, no, these go against the things I said I was going to do. And they're going to look at him and they're going to say, you're going to do what's on this list, or we are going to kill you. And it's that fucking simple. If you really think the President of the United States, be it Obama, be it Bush, be it Mitzi, be it Ron Paul, if you think the President of the United States just has free reign to do whatever the fuck he wants, you're nuts. The CIA, the FBI, the NSA, all of these organizations that have all of these guns and all of this power, not to mention nobody in the state system, nobody in the system of the state can go in and change things. Because for every person who goes in and wants to change something, there are 1 million people in the state who want it to stay just the way it is. And just as the state has no problem killing people that aren't members of the state, we kill people in foreign countries with flying robots. We kill people at Waco. We kill people at Ruby Ridge. We kill people all the time for selling marijuana. I mean, seriously, if the state will murder people for having a fucking plant, you really think the state would not murder Ron Paul if Ron Paul went in there and said, I am going to shut down the Federal Reserve? Do you really think that? The pseudo-libertarians cling to the idea of voting because they believe that voting is some right thing to do and that they can change the system from within the system. Furthermore, they think the system has to be changed by the system. That's expecting the state to do things for you instead of doing them yourself. That right there is, again, statism. That's the fucking definition of statism. You can't be a libertarian and be a statist at the same time. When you're arguing that the state has to be changed by the state and the state should change the state by the use of force, that's not libertarianism, that's statism. Okay, next of all, pseudo-libertarians are all constitution humpers. They think the Constitution is wonderful. Oh, if we just went back to constitutional form of government, everything would be better or perfect, whatever. Now, I'll admit, if we strictly adhere to the Constitution, I do think things would be better. I do not think the Constitution is a perfect document by any stretch. And there's also the problem of there are lots of things in the Constitution where actual words are not defined. People argue about what they mean. There's a lot of holes. Now, the scariest ones are when I took a poli-sci class and our stupid fat-ass bitch teacher in that class told us that there was a lot of confusion about the Second Amendment because constitutional scholars were not in agreement about what the word people in the Second Amendment means. So, I mean, when you have supposedly intelligent people sitting around arguing about what the definition of the word people is, I mean, that tells you that simply adhering to the Constitution is not going to work. Because you have to be really fucking stupid to not be able to know what the definition of the word people is. Pseudo-libertarians are constitution humpers. They think, oh, the Constitution is a perfect document, and if we just abide by that, everything will be okay. Not true. The Constitution still gives the state power over everybody else with no ability to opt out or to withdraw consent or to withdraw from that collective known as the United States of America. Again, you are forced to be under that system. When you're forcing somebody to be part of that Constitution, not giving them the option to withdraw, not making their consent count, that is statism. That is aggression. Pseudo-libertarians believe, and I kind of covered this already, but they all believe that you need to work in the system as opposed to ignoring the system. That's why Julie's arguing, oh, we got to stay in the Republican Party because we have to work in the Republican Party instead of ignoring the Republican Party and doing something different, which is my argument. Next of all, pseudo-libertarians are incrementalist. They want to do it incrementally. Well, we'll do this little law here, and we'll do this little law here, and we'll negotiate over here, and we'll do some stuff there. My question to you is, if you're walking down the street and you see a man raping a woman, would you incrementally attempt to stop him from raping her? Would you be like, first you'd stop, let's see. Okay, let me think about it for a while. Oh, I'll take a picture with my cell phone. And then you like take a couple of steps closer and maybe make some noise and hope that he notices you and just stops and goes away. Then would you edge like a little bit closer, maybe like pick up a little rock and throw it at him to ping it on his back? Or would you just stroll up to the motherfucker and kick him right in the fucking face? Okay, you cannot try to fix things incrementally. If that's like the only way you have of approaching fixing the state. Again, pragmatically, yes, I understand, but philosophically, that is not the approach. Pseudo-libertarians believe that philosophically, the incremental approach is the correct approach. Pseudo-libertarians, in my experience so far, have all been Christians. There's always the religious element. And the religious element scares me because I know at some point religious people are going to decide, oh, we need to force other people to adhere to our morals because our morals come from God. Now, a lot of the pseudo-libertarians are also, in favor of homosexuals getting married. As I've said before, homosexuals, nobody should be in favor of allowing homosexuals to get married because homosexuals should not need permission from the government to get married. They should be homosexuals, heterosexuals, bisexuals, trisexuals, whoever the fuck sexual you are, you should all be free to get married to whomever you want, whenever you want, however you want, without any consent, permission, or intervention from the state at all. There should be no state involved whatsoever in who you marry or who you fuck. Ever. Pseudo-libertarians, so all the ones I've met so far, all do believe, as we've already discussed, that Ron Paul is the Messiah. And if we just get Ron Paul in office, everything's going to be great. It's all going to be wonderful. It's ultimately, these pseudo-libertarians, I think I said this already, they are minarchist at best. They are Republicans at worst. And I do think they're trying to get the libertarian name because conservative is becoming a bad thing. So yeah, if you've got this poster of Ron Paul on your wall, you're no better than the idiot with a poster of the Messiah on his wall. You are doing Messiah worship. You are a pseudo-libertarian because a true libertarian does not turn to a politician to use force in order to bring freedom. That's just not how it fucking works, people. And I'm almost out of time, and we are not recording. There is going to be a part 3. It'll be down the road because I got stuff coming up. I'm going to be busy as hell for the next week. There will be a part 3 to this. I just want to throw out this. This is a quote from the band Genesis from one of their songs. "Beware the fisherman who's casting out his line into a dried up riverbed, but don't try to tell him because he won't believe you." Unquote. That's from Heath Hayes on the Duke album, one of my favorite Genesis albums, Duke. And that's what I see here. As a true libertarian, as a anarcho-capitalist, there's no point in trying to talk to people who are pseudo-libertarians because they are, they are the fishermen standing there casting their line into the dry riverbed. Whether their dry riverbed in this case is Ron Paul or whoever Messiah figure they're going to come up with next. It's not going to work, people. You need to walk away from the system. You need to walk away from the state. And if you can't do that, you're fucked. You're going to continue to be a slave. I don't bother with the other side. Actually, I gave a pseudo-libertarian time right here. 2 issues of Stating the Obvious, devoted to Julie and Refute. And by the way, again, go check out Julie's channel. I'm going to put links. A lot of her videos, she says a lot of things I agree with. So, she's a good resource. She's entertaining. She's fun to listen to, even when you disagree with her. So, there's nothing personal here against Julie. She rocks. Go check her out, subscribe, listen to her stuff. Disagree with her based on her ideas. Don't fucking call her names. And if I called her names in this podcast, don't fucking do what I do, okay? Do the right thing. Non-aggression principle. Just because I don't follow it doesn't mean you shouldn't.